Hi, welcome. This is Yin Yoga with Paulette. I'm having some technical difficulties, so I just really want to apologize for that. I know that can be really frustrating when you're ready to practice. So we're going to do a half an hour Yin practice. So coming onto your mat. And then let's just do some stretching. So bringing your right palm, I'm not going to mirror you. Bringing your right palm onto your hip and then bringing the left arm up and just stretching over towards the left, bringing the hips over to the left. If you like, you can look up at your forearm and just breathe. And inhale, come back to center, bringing the left palm on the left hip, inhaling, the right arm comes up and pressing over to the right with the hips. Oh, that's good. And coming back to center. And then let's go ahead and come down onto our sits bones. You can sit on your heels if you like in Vajrasana, or you can come onto your sit bones, or if you have a block, you can put that underneath your sits bones. And if you have a blanket, that would probably be helpful, especially if you have soft, tender knees. And so we can just have that on the side. And so today, primarily, we're going to be working on opening the hips. Some of you have been sitting a lot. I know I have. So it'd be nice to kind of open up the hip and the lower back area. And so coming into your breath, Ujjayi Pranayama, which is a deep inhalation and deep exhalation from the back of the throat. So you can constrict the throat just a little bit. I like to think about it as the step right before an audible sigh. So sometimes I also call it Darth Vader breath. I don't think that is necessarily a technical name for it. Some people like to call it ocean breath, which might be a little bit more of a peaceful name for it. And so inhaling and exhaling. And deep breath in and exhale. What's nice about this breath is it activates the vagus nerve in the back of the throat that connects to some of the vital organs, which really helps to facilitate relaxation in the body. And just a few more breaths here. Let's take one deep breath. And exhale. And then inhale, circling the arms up. And exhale, twisting over to your right, bringing the right palm behind you, using the left palm onto your right knee, and then twisting from the base of the spine, moving up to the center of the back, the shoulders, the neck, and then the head. Continuing to breathe deeply. And exhale, coming back to center and twisting over to the left, bringing the left palm behind the body. Twisting from, again, the base of the spine, center of the chest, shoulders, and then head. And exhale, coming back to center. And last week I talked about Pema Chodron. I was reading her book, Comfortable with Uncertainty. This week I'm reading Brene Brown's Dare to Lead. And in it she talks about courage. And she writes, if you choose courage, you will absolutely know failure, disappointment, setbacks, and even heartbreak. And I think moving into so much uncertainty every day, we're exhibiting quite a bit of courage. And so honoring your courage, your openness, your flexibility in this time where we really don't know what's happening from day to day. And bringing your palms onto your heart and feeling your heart. And just noticing how your heart feels. If there's a sense of trepidation and fear, just acknowledge that. If there's a sense of excitement about the future, if there's a sense of uncertainty. I think it's a really important practice right now to just give ourselves that space to feel what we're feeling and to be okay with it. And so let's go ahead and make our way onto our hands and knees. If you have tender knees, you can bring your blanket underneath your knees. Bring your palms directly underneath your shoulders. And then bringing the knees out to the edges of the mat, toes in towards one another. Palms are spread, or fingers spread wide. And then inhale, starting to lift, round the back, drop the head down, and then exhale, leading with the tailbone. Arching the back, lifting the head up, and then exhale. Rounding the back, dropping the head down, chin to chest, and inhale. So we kind of reverse the breath right there, but as long as you're moving with your breath, either inhaling or exhaling is fine as you round the back. And then inhaling. Good. Exhale, rounding back. Chin to chest, head comes in. And then reversing the feet, coming back to neutral. And let's bring the knees together, the feet out to the edges of the mat. And inhaling, continuing. And exhaling. And if you're like me and you tend to hyperextend your elbows, see if you can bring a slight bend in your elbows. And inhaling. Tailbone lifts, chest and head, and exhale, round. We'll do two more here. Lifting your hips like crazy, and exhale. Rounding the back, up, up, up. And release. And let's bring the knees back out to the edges of the mat, sitting back into child's pose, Balasana. Letting your hips come way, way back so that you can breathe into the lower back and lower spine, into the kidneys. And then inhale, let's come forward again. Bringing the right foot forward, knee underneath or knee over the ankle, and then interlacing the fingers, bringing the palm onto your right thigh. And let's just stretch out the left thigh, moving forward and back. So we are not holding for a whole long time, as generally in Yin we do. We're just making our way into the holding poses. And continuing to move with your breath. And then inhale, come back, bring the knee back in alignment with the ankle. And then we're going to come into a Ardha Hanumanasana, so half Hanumanasana. You might want to scoot your knee back a little bit, your left knee, and lengthen through the right. You can keep the left toes curled under. And inhale and exhale. If there's too much of a strain in the back of that right leg, you can micro bend the knee. And then relax the head down. And inhale, come back to center. And then bringing that right foot back, come back through table. We're going to move to the left side. So if you have blocks, and again, I don't like to teach with props because a lot of people don't have them at home, but you could always put them underneath your palms on whatever level feels comfortable for you. Otherwise, we're going to work without props and just bringing your palms onto your left thigh and moving forward and back, stretching out that right thigh. It's always nice to be creative and think of creative solutions for things. Maybe there's some other way to find blocks in the house. Maybe boxes or stereo speakers. And then coming back to center, bringing the knee back on top of the ankle. And then we're going to bring our palms down. You might need to negotiate the back knee. And so coming into that half Hanumanasana, lengthening through that left leg and flexing the left foot. And continue to breathe here. And exhale. Let's go ahead and release. You can bring your left palm inside your left leg. And then again, sitting back into Balasana. This time, if you like, you can bring your arms behind you, resting the forehead on the mat, and relaxing the shoulders down towards the floor. And if it feels good, you can roll the forehead from side to side. And then inhale, bringing the palms next to the knees. Let's inhale, come back up. And coming back onto our sits bones, bending the knees and letting the knees come out to the right. So you can bring your right foot on top of your left thigh and just have the knees bending towards the right side. I'm going to come into a twist here. So inhaling, the arms come up, and exhaling, twisting over to the right. It's a slightly different twist from the one we started at the beginning of class. And then exhaling, coming back to center. We'll switch sides, bringing the knees over to the left. And then inhale, circling the arms, and exhaling, twisting to the left. And inhale, come back to center. Bringing the soles of the feet together in Baddha Konasana. And then you can bring your palms onto your shins or your ankles. And inhale, lengthen up through the spine, and exhale, folding forward. So see if you can hinge at the hips, and then inviting the chest to soften down towards the floor. And then the head can release down too. And you can imagine that you have tail feathers spreading out behind you and fanning out, extending the sits bones back. And down. Inhaling, coming back up. And let's go ahead and extend the legs, coming into Paschimottanasana. If you have your blanket and you would like to put your blanket underneath your hips, just so that you can cushion the hips and also angle, creating a little bit of an angle, especially if you round your back. It's nice to have a little bit of a prop to encourage the hips to soften, and then we can start to fold forward. And if this is uncomfortable for the legs, you can micro bend the knees or bend the knees, bringing the chest onto the thighs. And then head can release down as well. And so here, breathing into the lower back, breathing into the back of the lungs. Opening up the intercostal muscles. And so yin, the body is moving so slowly that the thoughts are louder. So breathing into your body and see if you can soften around the thoughts. Creating space in between the thoughts. And then inhale, walking the palms up the legs, making our way onto the stomachs. So we're going to come into Sphinx pose. You can bring your blanket underneath your belly and your chest. And coming onto your forearms, spreading the fingers wide. So the feet can be wider than hip width distance. I like to bring my feet to the edges of the mat and grounding down through the front of the pelvis. Feeling a spaciousness in the body and a quieting in the mind. And you can bring the head forward. And then inhaling, bringing the head back up. And the elbows come to the edges of the mat, stacking one palm on top of the other and resting the forehead down. And then if you like, you can bend the knees, wipe or wash the lower legs. Bringing the legs back to center and extending them. And then inhaling, bring the palms to chest level and coming back up through center. So coming onto your back. And coming into half giggling baby. So bringing your right foot, bending your right knee and grabbing hold of the outside of your right foot. And then left foot can be planted on the ground, left knee bent. And then we're just going to roll from side to side. So switching from the right to left hand, the left hand can bring the right leg over to the side. And just stretching out that hip. Just taking it as far as it feels comfortable. You don't have to extend the leg straight. You can keep a nice deep bend of the knee. Feel free to hold or linger in any place that feels a little stuck or tight. The next time you make your way through center, we're going to pause there. Taking the right foot in the right hand, stretching out that thigh, that right hip, and then release it down. And then moving to the left, so taking hold of the outside of the left foot with the left hand. Half of giggling baby. And again, moving into the stretch. So rolling out to the left and lengthening the leg as much as it feels comfortable. And then taking hold of the left foot with the right hand and stretch. This side is a little bit more limited for me because I had my hip replaced on this side. So no worries if you feel like you can't extend the leg. You just take your time with this. Keeping your breath long and deep. And let's go through one more side. One more cycle. And bringing the foot back to center, grabbing hold of the outer edge of the left foot with the left hand. And exhale, releasing it. So coming into figure four pose, you can bring the right ankle on top of the left thigh and then interlace the fingers behind that left thigh. Or we can come into sleeping swan. It's the same stretch as just on the front body. We're coming into your table and then extending the right leg back, bending the right knee, bringing it to the right wrist. And then finding the angle of your lower right leg. And from here, extending into your sleeping swan or regular swan, and then coming forward into sleeping swan. You can stay there, or you can come onto your forearms or your forehead. And if you're on your back, you can go ahead and bring the right foot down. I'm going to switch over to the left if you're in sleeping swan or swan. I'm going to come back up through center. And then come into your table. And extend the left leg back this time and bend the left knee, bringing it to the left wrist or behind the left wrist. And then lifting up into your sleeping swan and exhale, or your regular swan, and coming forward into sleeping swan. So coming onto your forearms or your forehead. And on your next inhale, let's inhale, come back up through center. If you're on your back, just release your left foot onto the floor. And coming back through a table. Okay, sitting back onto your heels. You can curl the toes under and open up the soles of the feet. And exhale, release that. And making your way into Shavasana. If your body is cold, go ahead and put your blanket on top of you. Letting your head relax inside of the face, teeth, tongue, lips, chin, neck, shoulders, and chest, upper arms and middle of this chest, elbows and lower arms, wrists and fingers, the lower back, pelvis, pelvic floor, thighs, knees, shins and calves, ankles, arches of the feet and toes. And so you can stay in Shavasana. I'm just going to play the singing bowl. It's a C sharp. And it helps to clear the inside and the outside of the body and the space. And so just letting the sound move through your body. Deepening your breath, bringing some movement into your fingers and your toes. Maybe rolling the head from side to side. Bending the knees and bringing them into your chest. And giving yourself a hug. Maybe thinking about somebody you would like to hug right now and hugging them here too. Multiple people. And bringing your right arm up and over your head and rolling over to your right. Coming up into a seated position where we started today in the practice. And circling the arms up and over the head, bringing the palms together and down in front of the heart. In love and gratitude. Namaste. Thank you so much for being present, and I wish we could be together, but at least we can be together this way. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Namaste. Peace.